Hi, my name is Josh Lockheed, Training Evangelist here at QuoteWerks. Today I will introduce the QuoteWerks Layout Designer and how you can quickly customize those layouts to reflect your company's brand standards. In QuoteWerks, the Layout Designer is used to customize the printed layout for both individual documents like a quote, order, or invoice, and also printed output of management reports. Each has similar functionality but are used differently. For the purposes of today's demonstration, we'll be focusing on a quote layout. As you can see, I have a quote populated with some products and have pulled in a contact from my CRM. Before we get started, let's take a look at one of the sample layouts, and we'll use this template to customize our own. We'll click on the Deliver icon, we'll select the Quote Minimal Layout, and hit Preview. Here you can see a pretty basic quote layout. We have our company logo and address information. We have our quote number and date. We have our sold to company and contact and their address information. As we move down the quote, you'll see we have our salesperson, PO number, payment terms, and due date. All of this information is being pulled from the document headers and applications tables in QuoteWerks. We then get into our product information, including quantity, description, unit price, and total price. You'll notice that our section headers are pulled into this layout, and each product has a picture along with a verbose marketing description. At the bottom of the quote, we have our subtotal, sales tax, total, and required deposit. We also have our payment options listed, a notes section, and a line for the customer to sign off on the quote. Everything we see here can be customized. You can build the layout from scratch, but I find that for a majority of our customers, they can get to the desired layout by starting with a sample layout and tailoring it to their needs. That is what we're going to do today. Now that we have an idea of what the Quote Minimal template is, we can make sure that we have all of the required information in QuoteWerks and make it our own. The first thing we'll want to do is make sure that our company registration information and logo are accurate. We can do this by navigating to Tools, then Options, and clicking on the Company tab. If we click on Change Registration Information, we can see our company information. In our layout, this is what prints at the top of the screen below our logo. Before we do anything else, we want to make sure this is accurate. Everything appears to be in order, so I'll click OK to go back to the Company tab. Next, let's update our logo to our seasonal logo. We can do this by clicking on the picture under the Company Logo section. We'll navigate to our logo file, select it, and click Open. We now have a festive logo for the holiday seasons. Just a note, when adding a logo, make sure that its height does not exceed 300 pixels. If you need to, you can easily use Paint to resize the image. Next, since the quote has a lot of Cisco networking equipment, let's add our Cisco partner logo as our company picture too. We will use this later when we build our customized layout. Once all changes have been made on the company page, we can click OK to save them, and this will bring us back to the Document Items tab. Now let's click on the Sale Info tab. Here we will set our terms. Because this quote is configured to require 50% deposit at time of order, we will type in 50% due at time of order. We'll also make sure our quote expiration date is set, which it is, giving this quote 30 days to expiration. And finally on this tab, we'll make sure that our payment options are configured. For this quote, all I need is a credit card option, but you can add more if you would like. Now in the Notes tab, we'll make sure that both our introduction and closing notes are populated. We have set up our default notes so you can see they have been pre-populated with those defaults. If we wanted to, we could easily change them here. Having made changes to the logo, company picture, the sale info, and the Notes tab, we're ready to begin designing our custom layout. To edit our layout, we'll click on the Deliver icon in the standard toolbar. This opens the Deliver window. When editing a layout, it is best practice to clone an existing layout rather than editing an existing one, so that if you make any mistakes or want to reference the original, you can do so. We'll begin by selecting our Quote Minimal layout, then hitting the Clone button at the bottom of the window. We'll give our new quote layout a name and hit OK. You will now see the cloned layout in our list of layouts. Before we get to editing our newly cloned layout, let's take a look at the original one last time. Immediately you can see a major change. Our logo is now our seasonal logo. You'll also notice that the payment terms and due date have both been brought over from our Sale Info tab. If you scroll down further, you'll see our payment options and our notes, which are being pulled from our closing notes on the Notes tab. We'll close out of the preview and let's talk about some changes we'd like to make to this layout. I'm making some specific design decisions here, but when designing your own layout, your options are numerous and the Layout Designer is quite extensible. So just know we are only skimming the surface here. I'm going to update this layout to remove the verbose marketing description and product pictures, use a new color of red for our field labels, add our Cisco logo, prepared by information, and introduction notes. Making these changes to our layout will make our quote more in line with the brand standards we are following and could quickly be put to use delivering quotes to customers. To begin, I will click on the Deliver icon, select our clone template, and hit Edit at the bottom of the window. This opens the Layout Designer. With the Layout Designer open, you can see that our quote looks very similar to what our output was before, except now we have our macros instead of the information that's being populated from the quote. This layout itself is really composed of two major components, labels and fields. So a label will be something static like quote number or date, and a field will be something that's being populated from either the document, the application, or the system, something like doc number or doc date. As we discussed, we want to make a couple changes here, and the first change we'll make is removing our picture and our custom memo 1, which is the verbose marketing description. By removing this, what we're saying is we don't want any of these items to have a picture included, and the same thing with our custom memo or our verbose marketing description. We'll go ahead and remove both of those by selecting them and hitting delete on our keyboard. And then we'll go ahead and make this particular section a little bit smaller. What we'll also want to do here is go ahead and change the background color for our labels. And anytime you do something like I just did there, I slightly move the quote number, I can come back up and hit undo, and it will undo whatever change I made. So as I mentioned, what we want to do here is change the formatting of the labels here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and select one of these labels and make the changes that I want. So I'll come in and change the background color, and we'll make this red. And we will change the color of the font as well by going to text color. And we will make that white. And then what we'll do here, this is a really useful tool when you're editing a layout, is to go to Format and Set as Active Style. What that's going to do is it's going to essentially copy the styling that we have within this particular box here. And if we were to hold Control and select any of the boxes that we want to copy that styling to, we'll be able to do so here in just a minute. So I'm just going through and selecting all of my, I want to go ahead and deselect those, only selecting the labels here because those are the ones that I want to change the color and font for. So now that we've selected all those, we're going to go back to Format and we're going to apply as active style because we just set the active style. And you can see that our style has now been applied throughout the different headers. Looks like our background color here in the page header should also be changed. So we're going to go background color, and change that to red. And you can see everything has now been updated to the colors that we wanted. Now we also discussed that we wanted to add our Cisco logo to this quote, and we can do that by pulling a macro from one of our fields. And our fields are information that's being pulled from the quote itself, the document itself, or from the QuoteWerks application. And in this case, we're pulling our company picture from the applications table. And you can see we have company picture 1 here, which is where we have our Cisco logo associated. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK and put that right up here next to our company logo. Great. Now what we also want to do here is to add some prepared by information. So what we'll do is we'll just add a little bit more room here. And we'll first start by adding a label. Put our label right here. And we will put this as prepared by. Double clicking on that label will bring us to the edit label. And we can type in our text. Now I actually want this to be formatted a little bit differently. So I'm going to go in here and remove our background color. I'm also going to come in and change our text color back to black here. And I am going to add some fields here. So what I want is I want information about the document itself. So I'm going to go into document headers. And we're going to go and select our prepared by information. So first thing that we want is our prepared by full name. Put that next to prepared by. And we'll change the formatting in just a moment. We'll go back to our labels. We also want to include their email address and their phone number. So we actually want to hit field. And then we will put in the phone. We'll drop that in right there. And then one more field, we'll make it their email address. And we'll put that there as well. Now again, what we'll do is we'll just select all three of these. We will right click, background color. We do not want to use a background color, but we do want our font to be black. And for all of these fields, I want to remove the borders, so I'll just select them all, come over to borders, and remove our borders. Perfect. It looks like it didn't select this one, so we'll just go back to text color. We'll change it to black, and we have what we want here. Now, one thing that I'll notice is that the font size is a little bit different. So what I want to do is just come over to Format, Set as Active Style, Prepared by, Format, Apply Active Style, and you can see that's now been updated. Now what we'll do is we will take our active style from our sold to information, set as active style, come over here and select our three fields here, and Format, Apply Active Style. So now everything has been formatted correctly. One thing that you might notice though is our to and prepared by is not necessarily on the same level, if you will. It's not aligned correctly. So what we can do is we can select our to field and then our prepared by field, right click, go to align, and align to top edge. You'll see it's now brought both of our fields to the same area here. Great. The other thing that we wanted to add here is just a quick introductory note. So we'll add a little bit more space to our report header 2. And we will add another field here. And this is going to come from document headers as well. And the one that we want to include is our introduction note. Let's see if we could find introduction note here. So we're going to put this here. We'll expand it out. And that is now going to span across the top of our document. We've made the changes that we want, so we will go ahead and hit Save and Close. And this is now all set and ready to be previewed. Now that we've made the changes that we'd like in our layout, let's review it one last time. As you can see, we now have our rebranded quote. It has our new logo, our Cisco logo, our new color, our prepared by information, our introduction note, and we've removed the product pictures and verbose marketing descriptions. As you have seen, once you know your way around the Layout Designer, it's relatively easy to create a customized one. Again, the Layout Designer is very extensible, and this is just a glimpse into the things you can do with it. There are other videos that go into more detail around formatting, filtering, formulas, and more. Feel free to check them out, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to the team at 407-248-1481.